Miwoks, if you guys are familiar, and most of their villages were over the hill, right, on the bay in Inverness, and it was a really great land here for thousands of years, and they lived, I don't know, peacefully. Nobody really knows because they don't have a written language, but they lived here for thousands of years. I won't get into it. I was going to make comments about the learning new learning centers, whatever. And I want to say that I've always had a real fondness to Native Americans and the indigenous, especially because, I don't know if you guys know, but spiritually I'm a pagan. And I really like their idea of nature and how we need to incorporate into nature, and that we're part of nature and that we don't control nature, right? I think that's an important thing to think about. And then, they lived there pretty good, calmly I told you, but at about 1579, a ship appeared out here. It was the pirate, Sir Francis Drake. And they came aboard and had interactions, but, that led up to, the more settlements here. The Russians were up the coast, and so then more white people, basically. And then at some point, after all those years, I started working at the College of And I started out, I was a film student in the film program in probably about 87, and took film because I'm from Richmond. I always looked at Mount Tamalpais as like this symbol, and then to come here and go to school, I was so excited because I really wanted to be a filmmaker and make film movies, and they had film classes, 16 millimeter and Super 8. Contra Costa College over in my county didn't have them, and so I came here. And I worked as a work study in the film program, and really the one thing that saved me is the tech who was in the program, Duncan. He got sick with ulcers, I think because he was in the union. That's right. And they were at the end of the semester, and they needed people to finish their films. And they had a new 8-track recorder, audio recorder, and I knew I could play it because I mess around with that kind of stuff all the time. And so I was helping all the students, and they got me as an hourly then. And then when Duncan left and his wife came in and she didn't work out, I asked Judy Gartman, I'd like to be the film lab tech. And she was kind of a powerhouse back then. I don't know if anybody knows her, and she made it happen, and I became the film tech. And I was like in Harlan Center, never going out of there. They said Myrna Miller was the president at that time. I don't even remember because I just never really interacted with the administration or anything. I didn't do anything. And then we moved down to the Learning Center. They built a new area for us, not the building. And it was great. I mean, the program really was a great program. I'm sorry it's not as great as it was, and I probably that's part of my fault. I take responsibility for that partly. Because what happened was that I had a lot of free time as a tech. I like to work. And so I said, I could do media services work because 2 people had just retired from there. And so I started doing media services work and started working more for that, which is basically, when the teachers were in the classrooms, I would go and help them with their technology and make sure that, the class went, and that happened all the time. They call, oh no, the projector doesn't work, And so it was great. And then, sometimes the class will applaud you because you fixed it, and that feels good, And so then, where am I on my thing? Oh, wait a minute. I skipped a bit. Sorry, I told you it's going to be a long-winded speech.
Wind it down.
No, I got much more. What are you talking about? Okay. And then they incorporated media services into IT, and that's when I got into IT. We got big raises, and that really, set me okay that I'll be okay with retiring and made it possible. And that was great. But yeah, during this time, I did get involved with the union. And the reason I got involved with the union, because there was a president who was in there, and she wasn't following the principles that I think are important in a union and in a college or anything like that, which is, one, honesty, that everything you say is the truth that you believe, that you're not saying something just because somebody wants to hear it or you're trying to manipulate a situation. One, openness in that you're not having meetings without people there who can come and do like that and see what's happening in terms of the business. And third is democracy. And this one, and I felt it in the film lab too. I realized that I really like people. And that's why I invited everybody at the college here. Not everybody made it. But hey, you guys are the diehards. You are. You're the best people. And the thing about liking people is I trust people. And I trust that when the majority of people, like in a union, right, decide on an issue and make the decision on the issue on how they want to do it, that's the right decision, right? One person, they can be skewed, but the mass of people, they won't. They're going to make the right decision. And I totally believe in that. And speaking of that, I had some issues with the administration. I'm not going to go into that, okay? But I am going to say that I spoke to the board, last board meeting. And what I said was that people tell me that I represent something here at the college, right? And at the point, I was holding a lantern, right? And when I'm speaking. And what the lantern represented, and I guess it didn't really go by. I mean, it went over people's head. Is that in ancient Greece, there was a philosopher, Dionysius, and he went around in Athens as a protest, really, saying, with a lantern in the daytime, and he was saying, I'm looking for an honest man, right? And it was because he couldn't find any honest man in the government in Athens. That's what he was saying. But what I said to them was that when I go camping, I'm going to take this lantern and I'm going to light it in the spirit of whatever that thing, that philosophy that people think I represent. And I asked them, I said, don't you let that spirit be extinguished at the college anymore. Let it thrive. Let it burn. And what the metaphor for the Dionysius, the lantern, it's connected to my paganism too, which is the belief in the fire. And it comes from Zoroastrianism, and they believe that the fire is the truth. And it's the metaphor of lighting up the darkness. You can't see what the truth is, and you can't see what's there until the truth lights it up and you can see what it is. And I wholeheartedly believe it. But then I told okay. At that point, then turned and said that thanked everybody at the college, in my experience at the college, because I came here as a young adult, and it very much was a support system. You go away from the family, and you're floating out there as an individual, to have people there that you can talk to and be supported by, your coworkers, the students, everybody. It's a great thing. And the other thing is the continual intellectual inquiry, where you go around. The best part of working is going around talking to everybody. Right, Scott?
Right.
You get all those great conversations with people, and it's just it's a thriving place. So I want to say thanks to all of you, all the people that I met at the college, all the experiences I've had with them. I especially want to thank Judy Gartman and want to say thank you for coming, and I love you all. Thank you.